Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling what is probably the single biggest headache for leaders right now: how to successfully navigate the AI landscape without flying completely blind. We're going to dive deep into the TIO capability model. Think of it as the ultimate diagnostic tool for non-technology executives. It's a framework that cuts right through all the industry noise to show you exactly where your organization stands today, and more importantly, what you actually need to do next to get ready for an AI-driven future.
I want to start by asking a pretty provocative question. Is your organization actually ready for AI, or are you just chasing tool hype? I know, it hits hard. But honestly, if you're a leader right now, you are feeling immense pressure from literally every direction to just do something with AI. Your teams are out there experimenting, vendors are constantly pushing new features into systems you already own, and the board, well, they want to know your master strategy right this second. It feels like a massive race, but let's be real, running as fast as you can without a map usually just gets you lost faster. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap to completely demystify organizational AI transformation. We'll cover 1. The AI leadership paradox. 2. The readiness thermometer. 3. The 0 to 5 scale. 4. Evidence not aspiration. 5. Calculating priority scores. And 6. Making your first moves.
First up, Section 1, the AI leadership paradox.
This right here validates the core pain point you and your peers are dealing with. There's this fascinating, almost painful tension going on. On one hand, AI is easier to access than ever before. These tools are spreading like wildfire. But on the other hand, it is vastly harder to actually absorb. Safely and productively weaving this tech into your existing organizational workflows at scale is incredibly elusive. The debate is no longer about whether AI matters. Standing still is absolutely not an option anymore. But, and this is a big but, moving recklessly and breaking things destroys trust both with your internal teams and the clients you serve.
And that brings us to a massive foundational truth. Listen, AI is not just a technology project. If you treat it like an everyday IT upgrade, it's going to fail. The organization itself is the unit of transformation. To use AI, intelligent automation, and human judgment safely together, your entire organizational system, your leadership, your people, your data governance, your daily operations, it all has to evolve together. We are talking about a systemic shift, not just downloading some new software.
Moving right along to Section 2, the readiness thermometer.
Because this is a systemic shift, you absolutely cannot begin without a diagnostic baseline of where you are right now. Just imagine the contrast for a second. Think about a level 1 ad hoc organization. It's basically pure chaos. Priorities are totally hidden, teams are just chasing whatever vendor hype is trending, and risk exposure, completely unknown. It's endless reactive firefighting. Now compare that to a level 4 managed organization. There you have crystal clear enterprise choices on what to prioritize and what to table. Risks are actively monitored and there are defined paths for escalation. You really need to know if you're operating in chaos before you try to scale advanced technology across your business. So this is exactly where the TIO maturity assessment tool steps in. I love the way this is framed. It acts as an organizational readiness thermometer. It is not some generic change management framework, and it's definitely not an IT implementation manual. It's a diagnostic thermometer meant to give you a brutally truthful baseline. Look, most organizations are beautifully designed and battle-hardened for the world they came from, but this thermometer reveals exactly what capabilities have to mature for the new AI-driven world we are walking into.
All right, Section 3, the 0 to 5 scale.
So how do we actually measure this stuff? We use a maturity staircase for the 25 capabilities laid out in the TIO framework. What this does is brilliantly take the massive, overwhelming cognitive load of transformation and break it down into achievable steps. It goes from 0, which is totally absent, all the way up to 5, which is optimized. It gives your entire leadership team a shared objective language for exactly where you are and exactly where you need to be.
Let's run through these 6 levels real quick. 0 means the capability just doesn't meaningfully exist. Level 1 is ad hoc. Things get done, sure, but it relies on individual heroism or making it up as you go. Level 2 means you've got a basic, repeatable way to do it. Level 3 is defined. It's documented and actually owned by someone. Level 4 is managed, meaning it's measured and governed. And Level 5 is optimized, where the capability continuously adapts on its own. Now the big takeaway here, most organizations starting this journey score a 0 or a 1. They're relying heavily on improvisation instead of managed governance, and for sure, that is exactly what needs to change.
Next is Section 4, evidence, not aspiration.
This right here is the unbreakable golden rule of the entire assessment process. Score evidence, not aspiration. Let that sink in.
When you are establishing your baseline, any score you give yourself is completely provisional until hard facts are on the table. It is so easy for teams to sit in a room and say, oh yeah, we're super mature in risk management, maybe because they want to look good, or because they have some draft policy sitting untouched on a shared drive. But aspiration does not protect your enterprise. Only evidence does.
So what actually counts as real evidence? We are talking about concrete artifacts, documented decision records, reviewable milestones, recurring operating rhythms like, do you actually have a regular governance meeting with action logs, or is it just an idea? And of course, measurable results. Let's be honest, in corporate culture, everyone naturally wants to put their best foot forward during any kind of assessment. This strict rule keeps the conversation brutally honest. The goal isn't to punish anyone for a low score, it's to avoid rewarding polished but totally unused documents. That's the only way you get a truthful baseline to make real decisions.
Section 5. Calculating priority scores.
So, you've taken the assessment, you've got your honest baseline, and you are probably staring at a whole lot of gaps. What do you actually do next? Well, we use a remarkably clean, executive-friendly equation to calculate a priority score. You take the strategic importance of a capability, how critical it is to your big goals, and multiply that by the current pain, which is how much the lack of it is actively hurting you today. Then multiply that by the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Finally, divide all of that by the effort required to actually fix it. This is a brilliant piece of logic. It literally transforms abstract maturity gaps into urgent, mathematically ranked priorities.
And why is this specific math so absolutely crucial for the C-suite? Because if you look at a massive list of capability gaps and treat every single one as equally urgent, you will paralyze your organization. It's a recipe for burnout and failure. This equation turns a static, maybe slightly depressing assessment into a highly actionable priority roadmap. It forcefully protects your organizational focus. You're guaranteed to tackle the highest impact, highest pain, lowest effort gaps first. It tells you exactly where to aim your limited time and money.
Finally, Section 6, making your first moves.
Let's translate all these diagnostic insights into a concrete action plan for your first 4 months. Phase 1 is setting the mandate. This is months 0 to 1. You've got to answer, what must this organization become and why right now? It's all about locking down undeniable executive sponsorship. Phase 2 is making strategic choices. Where exactly are we going to focus and what has to change to get there? This is where you establish those value priorities using the math we just talked about. And Phase 3 is building the transformation system. How are we actually governing this work day to day? You set up your recurring review rhythms. Following this takes you from vague, abstract ambitions to a governed, active transformation engine in just a matter of months.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final, incredibly provocative thought. I want you to ask yourself, and then go ask your entire leadership team, what must be true 3 years from now for stakeholders to say this transformation created real value? Using the TIO readiness thermometer today isn't about passing a test. It's about knowing exactly where your starting line is, so that 3 years down the road, you aren't just looking back at a bunch of scattered, hyped up, failed experiments, but at a safely transformed, highly intelligent organization. Set your baseline, demand real evidence, and start making your first moves.